Hi, boys. Hi, everyone. Good morning, everybody. How are you today? I hope you are fine. I am glad to see you again on the internet. Special thanks to Zoom. Honestly, I should say that I missed all of you so much. I am looking forward to meet all of you at school, face-to-face education in the class, not distance or online education. Please all together pray to die and destroy coronaviruses. Okay, now, boys, after sharing my feelings, let's start our lessons today. Now, today is the lesson. In this lesson, we are going to study giving advice, suggestion, and recommendations. Advice and suggestion and recommend are synonyms. I mean, advice means that to give your opinion to someone about the best thing to do in a particular situation. Advice is a verb, just only advice and an advice changing one letter, S and C. Advice with S is a verb. Example, for example, here, I advise you to learn English. You will undoubtedly need it. And second one is advice with C is a noun. Here is an example. My father gave me this piece of advice when I was young. Yeah. Recommend means that to advise someone that they should do something. And what about suggestion means? A suggestion is an idea someone proposes. You can accept or reject a suggestion. A friend could make a suggestion of a fun movie. If you are new town, for example, you might ask for suggestion of good neighborhoods. Suggestions are ideas that can be taken or rejected. It's up to the person who receives the suggestion. Suggestion, recommending, and advice. Now, when we want to make to someone suggestion, recommend, or advise, we use some modal verbs. Now, here are some modal verbs of advice. Have to, must, and ought to. Have to, you know, this one, a positive form. Do not have to, negative form. Okay, now what's the explanation of this? You have to do something. Means that you have no choice. Compulsory, you have to do this. A must, positive form, must not, negative form. You must do something. Similar to have to, but must is fairly strong. And next one, should, positive form, shouldn't, negative form. You should or you should not to do it. You have a choice. It depends on you. And ought to, positive form, ought to not, negative form. Ought to and should are similar in meaning. Should is more common than ought to. Ought to is more formal than should. Okay. We said that ought to has nearly the same meaning as should. The only difference is that ought to refers to a moral or external obligation, but should is more of an advance. Example here, you ought to stop smoking, you should stop smoking, the same meaning as well. Now, before I mentioned it, if you are new anywhere, you want to ask for advice. Now, here is how can we make an advice sentences. And here are the common phrases that you could use when someone wants to ask for advice. Now, For example, one question is for asking advice. What do you suggest? What do you advise me to do? What should I do about something? What ought to do? What ought I to do? What is your advice? If I were you, or if you were me, what would you do? What do you think I should do? What would you suggest I do? I should do about. Can or could you give me some advice about something? What would you do in this situation? These are examples of asking for advice, common phrases mostly using by the people. Now here is an example between students and teachers, a short dialogue here. Students, I want to improve my writing skills. What do you suggest my advice? Any advice, sorry. What do you suggest? Any advice, my teacher? And teachers reply, answering the student's question. In your situation, I would read a lot and practice some writing. Now, given advice. Here are the common phrases that you could use when someone wants to give advice. Now, if I were you, I would. We are using here base form of the verb. Why don't you? Why don't you? You had better. You ought to, or you should. The same meaning. You ought to, should. We mentioned it before. If you take my advice, you will do something. It might be a good idea too. I advise to you. Have you thought about? I think you should. Maybe you should. I suggest you. How about verb plus ing? Gerund here. You might try the same, verb plus ing. I would advise you to. My advice would be to something like this. Now here, example here, giving advice. For example, if you have teeth problem, what should I do? Or what should you do? Here is an example. If I were you, I would go to the dentist. If you have teeth problem, why don't you go to the dentist? Another one, you had better brush your teeth regularly. And next, you ought to or should avoid eating sweets. Another one example, if you take my advice, you will go to the dentist. Next, it might be a good idea to brush your teeth on a regular basis. I advise you to brush your teeth on a regular basis. Okay. Have you thought about seeing a dentist? These expressions, when you have a problem, when you want to give someone to advise, you may use these expressions. Now here is an example. A dialogue students and teacher between. Student, say that, asking advice. I am terrible at English and I think I should do something about it. What do you advise me to do? Students asking to the teacher. And teacher is replying, I think you should try this website. It is fantastic website for beginners. And next, student also asking again, I have heard about it, but what do you think I should start with? Teacher replying, you had better start with the lessons than try the exercises. Now, boys, we have finished our lesson today. Thank you very much for joining us. Next lesson, I hope we will get together. Bye. This